A little hard work, a little sweat on the way. It's like, okay, I'm here for this. That one shoot that I did for free, look at the opportunities that arose from it, right? Say I was spending more time on YouTube learning how to film than calculus. She's like, hey, you want to do this job for $1,700? And I was like, yep. 2022, things kind of changed. That's when I realized having a team is twice the network and half the work.
Not just you. Now you have a team that relies on you to pay for them and provide for their family.
And you've had a journey of going ups and downs, ins and outs.
You're always busy as an entrepreneur. Like, you're never off.
Right.
Really. So I definitely got lost in my work for a little bit and didn't have as much family time as I wish I did have. And that's, I lost my grandpa actually. Ooh, emotional there. That why is why do you do certain things? Why do you not do certain things? If you can answer that question of what your why is or who, you can really do anything.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Tool for Rise podcast, aka the #1 podcast in Winnipeg, where we document the rise and stardom of Winnipeg's talent and personalities. I want to thank you all for tuning into this episode, and week after week. And if you have not hit that subscribe button, please do. It gives us a reason to continue doing what we do and put the city on the map. Today we have Garrett McEwen on the podcast, the owner of Club Create, a powerful production company that is capturing the best moments in Winnipeg. If you've ever wondered what it's like to own a production company or the world of film, this episode is for you. As always, thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you guys. Appreciate y'all for having me out. It's cool to finally see the behind the scenes.
Thank
you guys been working on. So
we were talking like we never met, but we know each other very like
exactly.
At least I know them of you. So like
pulling up, I was like, wait, I've never met them. I feel like it, right? So.
But there's so many overlaps between festivals and just like mutuals that we've had that like we've been watching your stuff for a long time, and like I'll give you some respect before we started recording here, but again on camera, everything you guys do respect.
When I saw the 204 in the DMs, I was like, no way. It's time
to tell my story.
Yeah.
Right? Man, well, like literally you guys we see David and your team at any event that we go to, and it's always nice to just kind of connect with them in a way and know we're sitting with the man himself in the chair. Exactly. So let's dive into this conversation, man. It's not hard to see the amount of work that you put into your craft every single day. So take me through the journey of where this actually started and where this idea came to fruition for Club Creative.
I guess I'll start at the beginning. I mean, since I was a kid, I always had little cameras just taking pictures of, animals on the farm or whatnot. And I just thought it was a hobby. My dad, he used to take photos of me and my sister all the time, whether at the beach or downtown in the Exchange, which is crazy because 25 years later, now I'm in the Exchange shooting people. And it was just like full circle, right?
Yeah.
But at the time, I thought it was like to have a camera was just something you did for fun. I didn't realize you can make a career out of it. So then I went to university, direct entry from high school into electrical engineering. Second year, applied into electrical engineering, got in. I thought C's get degrees is what they said.
Yeah.
But there's some fine print.
There's a fine print,
Yeah, if I knew I was struggling in class, like Calc 3, which is
it's a different beast.
I can't even start to explain it, but something like that, I would, instead of taking a VW, which wouldn't affect my transcript, I would just stick in it, take the D or the F on the final, then I would know what to expect coming around next semester, right? But what I didn't know was that there was a 80% pass-fail ratio, and if you drop below that, you're kicked out immediately. So year 3.5, it's second semester, 2 weeks in, wake up to an email, hey, you can no longer attend. And I'm like, wait a minute. It's like rubbing my eyes, right? And still went to school that day, had a meeting with the dean. They're like, yeah, no, you're done. Like, you can't come back for a 1.5 with 40 credit hours, and you have to meet with the dean of each, like bio, civil, electrical, like all of them in engineering. And I was like, wow. The biggest realization in that moment was like, these people that I don't even know are telling me that I have to pause my life for a 1.5. If this is where I'm trying to go. And like, I understand that I slacked a little bit, but it was an eye opener that I don't want other people to be in control of my destiny, right? So I ended up going to Red River because they have a way quicker program. None of the classes even transferred because you don't need that many maths and all the other bullshit electives. You don't need those either. But I was like, you know what? I'm still going to do it. I had a great chat with one of the professors there. And around the same time, my current mentor, Jill DeManu, she reached out because I did a shoot with her with one of my ex-girlfriends where I was like the subject, right? And I knew school was over, so I knew I had to pursue a little bit more of this film journey. And honestly, I was spending more time on YouTube learning how to film than calculus, so it was a blessing in disguise. But anyways, while I'm at this shoot with Jill, I'm just hitting her with all these questions about the industry, how she's making the money, and she even says like I annoyed her too because there's just so many questions, right? But she saw the drive and the ambition and the passion that I had for film. So an opportunity arose where she had a client that needed video as well. She doesn't do video, so she called me up and she's like, "Hey, you want to do this job for $1,700?" And I was like, "Yep, I'll do that." I didn't have any of the gear; had to go buy it all, right? And I feel like we're still doing that, where we get bigger gigs and we buy more gear and profit less. But we're finally starting to find some profit margins now. But yeah, hit it off, crushed that video, and then she's like, "Do you want to do weddings with me?" And I was like, "Yeah, I really do." And so she was my in to the industry, right? Because it's hard to break into it. There's a lot to learn on your own, never mind with a mentor by your side. So I'm super grateful for that. And it just kind of snowballed into a great relationship with her. And then, you know, meeting David, Sky Spence, Prince, Max Drugs, all these other shooters along the way that are coming up at the same time. Because there was a rise for sure with video back in like 2017. So then me and Jill, we ended up getting our first studio in like I think 2019. And it was just like a one bay, 900 square feet, little tight, but you know, we could store our gear there, we could do shoots, it felt nice. Instead of like dragging all these C-stands and lights into my apartment every time I had to go to a shoot. It just I was over that, right?
Yeah.
So, and then shortly after that, we expanded to a bigger studio, and in order to help like pay my part of the rent, I brought David in as well, because he also was interested in the space.
Yeah.
And then we were subcontracting each other, and we're like, "Okay, we're just canceling these invoices. Why don't we just partner up?" We have the same home now, essentially, and we decided to incorporate because we had a couple of really big jobs in 2022 at the beginning. And did we incorporate too soon? Yes, but no regrets, because there's 2 years of lessons that you have to learn no matter when you start, and I'm glad that we just got through those, right? And like I said, since 2022 when we incorporated, things kind of changed. That's when I realized having a team, for one with me and David, it's twice the network and half the work for myself, right? And then you guys know too, like delegating tasks amongst each other, it takes weight off an individual, and it's motivating too, because if you hold your end of the weight, that means you have to as well, and then you guys just kind of climb together, right?
100%. Yeah.
So yeah, it just really snowballed, and then we got Giuseppe on right away, full time. Probably made more than us each year, but we need him. He's really the backbone to Club Create. I don't know where we would be without him, honestly. And you know, having him taking care of all the post production allows us to go out and get more jobs and network and take on bigger projects, right? So, like I said, I couldn't have done it on my own. And to have David and Giuseppe, it's been such a blessing. So,
dude, that story is incredibly inspirational, man. Like, I graduated from engineering as well.
No way.
I can.
He took out 3.
I know the pain. I want to pick that apart, though, man. You know, having someone tell you that, you know, you're very young and in the stage of your life where you know you're trying to figure shit out, and then someone tell you that, hey, like, you can no longer figure that out. Like, you know, it's tough. And so, how did you deal with that struggle? I would say, in a sense that, you know, someone was having that power over your life.
You know what? Like I said, as I was definitely upset at the beginning. That's 3 years of your life, a lot of money. You know, a lot of family that supported me through that journey. So I felt like I let them down. But at the end of the day, it felt right. Which was the weirdest feeling. I didn't know how or why exactly, right? So I kind of just let it play out, let everything fall into place. Obviously, you know, working with Jill and throwing myself into that scene with her. I did a lot of free shoots with her, right? A lot of really, really cheap weddings that like I overworked and stuff like that. But you need to build a portfolio and yeah, build up your clientele and everything. But I think just being surrounded by the right people is what kind of kept me motivated and kept me going, right? And like I said, there was a lot of other new creators on the scene, Sky Spence and David Dobson being two that I really, associate myself with, because we have the same struggles, right? You're trying to build a business, build a brand, and there's a lot of obstacles. So just to be able to do that with somebody, even though we weren't necessarily a team. Actually, we did try to start a business called Social Media with Sky and David and another Garrett, actually, and it fell through. We didn't have the gear that we needed to pay everybody and to profit. It just didn't make sense at the time, right? But second time around with Club, it paid off.
Yeah.
Was that your dream, to be an engineer?
I thought it was, because I wanted to be Tony Stark. Like, I wanted to just build an Iron Man suit and like super cool shit. And then the more that I was in school, the very first year we had this one class. It was like an intro, and you got to I don't know if you did it this year, but there was every 2 or 3 years they switch up the requirements for say your design. And this year you had to go like a straight distance really far with a little car, rubber band car, right? And me and my team, this one kid, he's like, hey, I've seen this idea where it's only 2 wheels. And then everyone was like, nah, I guess that's crazy. And then I was like, I went home, but figured it out, built it myself at night, came back the next day. I was like, yo, this thing goes and it doesn't stop. So like the distance would go twice as far as we needed, but keeping it straight was the hard part. But anyways, the coolest thing about that was that next year I'd be walking the halls and I'd peek in and everyone had 2 wheels. Right? So then obviously the next year they had to switch it up because crack the code. But that was a super fun class. And then after that it was just math. So there was no other like creativeness that I was like striving for.
I remember being in like second or first year, and I remember seeing him build his car.
What was your?
And mine was a rubber band car. So the design behind it was like a mousetrap. So in order to get the real axle to spin, we attached like a pulley system that would set it all the way down, and then it would have the perfect amount of length of string to get it to the certain distance.
There you go.
So then it would just pull it and then snap at the end, really end. So we had to jump a ramp. It was like a 1 foot gap between the platform and the ramp, and so and keep it within this.
I'm a bio guy, like I'm a science guy, but seeing him build it, I was like, that's actually really cool. Like, I'm looking at microscopes all day. This is not as fun as what he's doing.
I do agree with you in the sense that, like there is that hands-on aspect to the engineering really gets taken away in the third, fourth year, where you're just hit with calculus and like thermodynamics and do all these other classes. And it's so you would say you're a creative at the end. Hey, like that's
and I didn't realize that, right? The part that interested me in engineering was the creative side of it. So now that I could be creative with the camera, I just fell in love with that. And more recently, like this year, I'd say, I learned that within business, as an entrepreneur, you can be creative, and that is an absolute game changer because
the world is your canvas,
literally, right? And just making money and solving people's problems, just being creative with it, right? And whole new outlook on business now. So I'm super excited about that.
And now your camera gears look like Iron Man suits.
Well, actually, there's some new stuff we'll be putting out. Actually, on the next wedding, you'll see I got this nice little harness that holds my gimbal.
He's already
haven't tested it yet, but I love gear, so it fit well.
So were you conflicting while you were in engineering with your creative side at all, in the sense that you had this? Were you messing around in the filmmaking scene while you were in engineering, or did it really come when they told you that you no longer could do engineering?
Again, it was all perfect timing. Right before I got kicked out, I don't know if you guys know Lavish.
Yeah.
So he was again just starting out.
I went to middle school with him.
No way. He probably went to some of his like shows at like clubhouses and stuff, right? And they were lit.
I remember hearing his like mixtape in high school. And like, yo, some guys performing at clubs in Winnipeg.
Damn, it's pretty good. Right? And he wanted video. Obviously, has zero budget. I'm just new to the scene, so it's like, you know what? I need a portfolio piece. You're talented. Let's work together. Did a couple videos. And after I started working with Jill, though, I I didn't really do the music scene thing because again, there wasn't necessarily money in it. Now I needed to make a living with it.
Yeah.
I would still do a couple creative projects, but Lavish, she ended up moving fairly shortly after that.
Yeah.
And like just popped off, right?
killing
So
Signed with OVO. I believe.
yeah, man, honestly, like so happy for him. He's found his voice, his lane.
Yeah.
You know, he was doing like the rap thing back then,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
he's incredible at as well.
Sure.
But now that he's really just speaking from the heart, and like you guys heard his most recent
course,
music and stuff,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I'm just so happy for him. But then when I did get back into the music scene, it was actually David, Small World. He's like, I have this artist. It's his first show. He's really good, and he wants video. And I'm like, you know, I love to support people, but like I need to support myself right now, right? And then he sent me the music, and it was why I sent Fab. And it was meant for and Nobody Loyal. I was like, these are the first 2 songs that this guy's putting out. I still listen to them today. So I was like, okay, I'll pull up to this one, right?
Yeah.
And then I shot all of his first shows because I met him at the event and we were vibing, right? And I got footage that nobody has of him because I interviewed at his first show at OV, and what motivated me to go out and film for free for these shows, whether it was Lavish or for YSN, was again, they're at the beginning of their journeys, and so am I. No one's filming me though, so like I don't get a doc
Right now.
This
but
is
yeah,
the
right
doc.
now it's
This is
starting
the
now. But I just knew that in 5, 10, 15, 20 years, this footage would mean so much to them. To show everybody like where they started and where they came from. I remember Lavish. There was a show at U of M, and there was like 3 people in the front, so I'm just behind them trying to make it look busy, right? And now those guys can both fill the Burton Cummings, right? So it's crazy, inspiring, and I was also positioning myself with these like-minded individuals in the sense that they just have a dream and they're just going for it. So that's everybody, like Sky, David, Fab, YSN, Shy Ross, like some athletes as well, right? Like everyone's just dialed in. It's not an easy journey because they don't know how to get there because no one's done it before them, right?
Yeah.
But they're just making it work, and that kept me motivated throughout my journey. So
I see so many parallels in that sense that's one of the reasons we started the show as well. The same reason of like, there's a lot of people in Winnipeg who are doing things, but they're not getting that voice out there, right?
Yeah.
They won't even get their voice until they're like at a level where they're getting interviewed by other people. But everyone's got a story, everyone's got something to tell.
Exactly.
And so, we're just a bunch of guys yapping in a room. If we could tell their story, if we can just get a glimpse, and maybe it does well, maybe it doesn't, but if we can be a part of that, that's a similar reason why. So I see so many parallels in that sense as well.
That's awesome. Yeah, and you guys are really doing the deep dive. Like we interviewed Fab once.
Yeah.
The rest was all live events, but like you're really getting into the deep.
We're
questions,
trying.
which is good.
Deep
So,
trenches,
yeah.
Do you remember your first shoot that you went to?
Yeah, I was with Lavish.
That was
so
the
nervous.
first. Okay. Walk me through like what was going through your head. Like, okay, what kind of cameras were you using? What was the game plan going in? And then what did the result turn out to be?
I mean, back then I thought I was all good in terms of the gear, but like now what I know, and like back then I couldn't tell the difference between a focal length, right? But now I can like look at a screen and say, oh, that's a wide or that's a 200 mil or whatever.
Yeah.
And I didn't know when to use either, so I was really just playing around with the zoom. It was this old Sony body like camcorder with like an 18 to 150 zoom, so I could play around with it, right?
Yeah.
No idea on the script. We basically just shot a bunch of takes. I don't even know if some of the videos got released. We just a couple of them did on YouTube actually.
Yeah.
What was it? North Face. That one. That was like the first video we kind of scripted. Had a few different sets. We were shooting on the ice actually, by the Forks. They had a bunch of like actual ice sculptures, like cutouts and stuff. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And there was these figure skaters from the Disney, like they were doing tour, Disney on Ice, and they were doing a bunch of like flips around them, and I was with the drone. I was like, this is so unsafe because I just see a guy like kicking his leg, and then Lavish is just doing his thing. I'm like, ended up using that footage, but that was probably one of the first shoots was with him. But he's such a humble, nice guy that it was comfortable, right? The pressure wasn't there. I mean, I had to produce, but it was just fun, and I just kept doing it. So
So going from the path of, you're going to go into engineering and it's going to be a stable career. Now you have to literally put food on the table for yourself.
And my family now,
And-
right?
yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
When I had to feed myself, it was a little more slack.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You skip a couple meals.
Skip a couple meals. It doesn't
Eat a
really
couple of
matter.
packets of ramen, right?
Yeah. Go to my mom's house. But yeah. So what was the question on that?
It's like now you're putting food on the table not only for yourself, but you got others to feed now, right? And that goes into your leadership for your business. It's not just you. Now you have a team that relies on you to pay for them and provide for their family. So how do you deal with that pressure?
Yeah, and honestly, that was the biggest thing too. Like our first year incorporated, me and David, we missed quite a few paychecks, right? Or because everyone was on payroll, but we missed a couple checks, and we just made sure that Giuseppe had his, because he's kind of our responsibility. If he's gonna commit to us, we gotta commit back to him. So a couple missed paychecks there. Again, learning curve, first year incorporated, we made a lot of money, bought a lot of shit, didn't realize all the other expenses that were down the road coming our way. But yeah, now we're at a point where we do know those expenses, like filing your tax for a corporation, $1,000. That's just what it is. Never mind what you owe, right? And yeah, I think having that responsibility to feed other people is motivating. Because when it was just myself, it wasn't.
Yeah.
I didn't have that hunger, right? And honestly, since my son was born, it gave me that why that I was missing before, right? And that why is why do you do certain things? Why do you not do certain things? If you can answer that question of what your why is or who, you can really do anything. So
What is your why?
to be honest, being a new father, or new parent, but I'm just speaking on the dads out there, your whole world changes, your whole perspective on everything. Like there's things I was set with before that I'm changing my perspective on that I never thought I would. And I want to give my son the best life possible, but I don't want him to walk into it either. I want to what's the word? I want to raise him to be self-sustainable on his own and have all the wisdom and experience that I have so that he can carry himself and he can carry others, right? And I just want him to be, for one, happy, whatever he decides to do, and just be a beast. Just go get it, right? So I'm still trying to figure out, he just turned 1. I'm trying to figure out how to teach him those things, and I think the best way is just leading by example, right? I want him to be, as soon as he can walk alongside me in meetings, on shoots, learning as I learn, so that I don't have to reteach that one day. And yeah, he's my why. We actually have a second one expected March 2nd, or March 22nd,
Congrats.
sorry. So he'll have a little brother, and yeah, I just want them to, again, partner up, whatever that is that they want to do, and really just conquer their own worlds. So
Would you say your why was different compared to before you had your son as to where it is now?
I mean, I always wanted to be able to provide for a family, and I thought that I'd get to that point first and then have a family, but it didn't work that way. And it's a blessing, because now having my son, it's a whole new meaning to that why. Like you say you want to do it for your family in the future, but when you actually have that family and you come home to them, it's a different feeling for sure, right? So I'm blessed that it happened sooner than anticipated, because it pushed me in ways that I can't even describe. It's like motivation is just an emotion that comes and goes, but this is, like I said, when you have a why, you don't need the motivation anymore. You just it's just there all the time. So
And you've had a journey as well, like going ups and downs and
still,
ins and outs.
Still, like last week in Calgary, our shit got stolen. $2,000 worth of gear. Luckily, we had most of it inside.
Yeah,
there's just some stands and whatnot. But those are all lessons in my mind. For what it's teaching you, like we're not going to be negligent like that again.
Right.
So we're actually coming out of the situation stronger.
Yeah.
And
can you walk me through what happened?
Yeah. So we flew to Calgary. It was our biggest travel gig to date. So we had 5 check bags, 2 overweight, And when we got to Calgary, they both didn't show up. 20 minutes later, one of them came. And then we had to come back to the airport for the snowboard bed that had our stands in it.
Yeah.
And some tripods and whatnot. So come back 2 hours later. It worked out because we had to pick up Max, who flew in from Vancouver. We hired him. And so we get the bag. We get to the hotel. I was like, we can leave that bag. It's just stands. Lock up, go to bed, wake up. David calls. The worst thing possible could have just happened. I look out the window, just shattered glass. And that bag, which we obviously needed, was gone.
Like in your car? Yeah.
Yeah. So it's weird. It's almost like there was a sign that bag didn't want him to come to Calgary. Should have just stayed in Winnipeg. But our client was actually super understanding. And the first day of our shoot was pretty light. So we could get away without that stuff in the morning. And then David picked up some rental stuff from BizTech. But those setbacks too. And then hardships too. Like recently I like a little bit of struggle, a little bit of hard work. Because if things are too easy, you're not going to push yourself that extra mile. And what are you really gaining, right? I mean, if I'm comfortable, I'm not getting better, essentially, right? So if there's like an obstacle in front of me, I get excited now.
100%.
A little hard work, a little sweat on the way. It's like, okay, I'm here for this. I had it easy 10 years ago, and just I was a lazy individual myself, and I had a talent and drive that carried me to where I needed to be, but now I'm at a different mindset. My circle, I've slowly been curating the last 2-3 years, and I'm just so proud of the people I surround myself with. They all inspire me. Like Brady Oliveira for one, right? I represent Shai Ross, Joe DeManu, my mentor, my sister, who moved down to Dallas 3 years ago, just booked a one-way flight. She started playing football down there. Well, she was originally going to play on a different team in this league that fell through, and that's what she was training for all of COVID. We lived together in 2021, and she was like jacked. She'd be pushing me around and stuff. So she was all like set on playing ball, and then when that league fell through, she found another league and then sourced out the best team, undefeated, in Texas, and she went down there, asked for a tryout, boom. Made the team, and since then she had 2 championships on her belt, and then went to Team Canada. Played in Finland, and now she's got her massage therapy. She finished her degree down there in Texas, has her licensing, and she's crushing it. So to see her, and we obviously stay up to date, but it hasn't been an easy breeze for her either, right? Getting the visas every step of the way is a fight. For a few months there, she couldn't work but couldn't leave the country. It's like, what am I supposed to do then, right? But no, she's pushing through. She's determined, and I'm so proud of where she's at right now. So
it's crazy that you say that you almost need something to like get in the way. Because sometimes I'm like, life's going a little too well right now.
The day before shit got broken into, I was like, okay, too many blessings are happening right now. Like, I don't know how I feel about this, right?
And it comes down to the other thing as well, where like motivation is like, are you chasing something or are you running away from something, right? And so there's definitely a fuel when you're going towards something, but there's another type of fuel when you're running away from something that you don't want to ever come at or never want it to be that life again, whether that's something you're coming from a past thing or a situation that you were in.
Exactly, and I think that's a pretty deep motivation for some people. Was it just Stephen A. Smith? I just saw him on Instagram the other day saying how he doesn't get to spend a lot of time with his daughters and his family, and he doesn't care. He's like, I know what it's like to be starving, and I'm not ever gonna let my family be in that position. So if I gotta be away to work, I'll take that sacrifice, right? And
it's a hard thing to do.
It's tough. It is very tough too, because kids, they grow so fast. Even this 1 year experience with Brooks, right? Like he's just tall standing now. I'm like, this is crazy.
You can be holding a camera real soon.
He's gonna be holding one really soon, and I think that's where I get lucky, is that, owning my own company and being my own boss, I will bring my son everywhere to shoots, right? And so that way I can still work all the time, but I can bring him traveling. I can include him in that as well. So
talk to me about the sacrifices that you made along the way and along your journey, right? I'm sure it wasn't just pick up the nice gear and start shooting. I'm sure there was a lot of struggles and a lot of sacrifices you did have to make.
Yeah, I mean, thank God for credit cards. You know what I mean? Because, like I said, that first job with Jill, I had to go buy, I had to rent a lens. I think I had a camera body, a tripod, a light, a mic. And I feel like for the next 2 years after that, everything that I was doing was a new gig. So wedding, okay, only made $500. I had to pay my buddy at the time $250 or $200, and I spent $400 on gear. So I was down $100. It's tough to grow when you're losing money every time you shoot, but you just got to see the vision, right? Like see further ahead. It's an investment, and we're still doing that right now, where we buy new gear specifically for jobs, but we're at a point right now where it's really comfortable with what we have, and we can start profiting.
Yeah.
But yeah, financially, obviously, probably the biggest struggle, and actually time too, because you're always busy as an entrepreneur. Like, you're never off,
Right.
really. So I definitely got lost in my work for a little bit, and didn't have as much family time as I wish I did have. And that's, I lost my grandpa, actually. Ooh, emotional there. Sorry.
You all right?
Yeah, I'm good.
I don't feel like you need to.
I'll finish the sentence. Though. Yeah, I'll finish.
Thank you.
You a hug?
I'm okay for now. Thank you, brother.
Of course, bro.
Hey, come on. Yeah, so lost my grandpa a couple of years ago. And I just wish I could have spent one more summer.
Yeah.
But so finding that balance, I think, is super important moving forward with family.
Yeah.
So
It's hard, man. I'm sorry, because I know how much your grandparents mean, right? And they're sometimes they're like your father and your mother. Right?
yeah.
When they can't be there. So I know how you're feeling. I almost want to make me cry myself, man.
Yeah.
It's hard, but I'm sure he's super proud of the man you are today and the man that you are for your son.
Yeah.
And
Do you have a story from like the first couple years that you did where you got like an event or a gig that you were like, I can't believe I'm doing this right now? You mentioned the wedding and then you had to keep going, but was there one where you're like, oh, this might actually lead somewhere, or that stands out?
Standout shoots. Like I said, being able to shoot Lavish and shoot YSM Fab early on in their careers, and and to meet them then, and to document that. Those were very fulfilling moments, right?
What about
sorry. Not that they were like popped off at the moment, but like I knew they are going somewhere. So to be a small part of that was a super cool feeling. In terms of like standout shoots, there was actually this, I don't know how this happened twice with two different companies, but it was for sugaring companies, and I don't have to describe like what I was shooting, but I'm just sitting there like, I'm about to edit this later. You know what I mean? I was like, this is crazy. So I was just like, this job will really take you anywhere. Like with film, it'll really take you anywhere. And
That's crazy.
after that, not much else kind of caught me off guard.
How'd that phone call come about?
Honestly, I was doing a shoot for one of the companies, like just in their facility, and then she brought it up as a joke, and I was like, yeah, sure. And then like when I was in the room, I was like, hey, I'm really doing this. But yeah, crazy. And then it happened with another company. I was like, I'm not just the guy to go to.
You're the plug.
You can't obviously promote that work.
No, that's not in your portfolio at all?
No. Not in the portfolio.
The front page of Club Create.
well, let's dive into the business world of Club Create. I'm so intrigued to explore your mind and your business mind. You said entrepreneurs almost like creative, right? You can be your own creative in entrepreneurship and pave the path that you want to walk. So
Yeah.
so walk me through. Of course, you brought on David and incorporated, right? And
I wouldn't say I brought him on. I said
Yeah.
we
Like-
that was a team decision there for
Right.
both of us for sure. But we did bring on Giuseppe immediately because
Right.
we knew his value and how much we needed him, right?
And you mentioned that you missed a couple checks as well,
Yeah.
right?
I got
Can you walk me?
lots.
Can you
Lots in
walk
the
me
first
through
2
that?
years.
Can you walk me through that period of time?
I mean, they're spaced out and they usually happen in the winter. Like coming up right now would be our slow season.
Yeah.
Last year, though, when we found out Amy was pregnant with Brooks, we had to find a home, purchase the home, reno the home all before he was born in September. So like our busy season, we were renovating. Me and David weren't putting a whole lot of work into club. We had our set weddings and jobs and whatnot.
Yeah.
But because we weren't fully engaged in the company, I think that's why we had an extra slow season last year. But yeah, the year before, like in our first year, we made a lot of money and we didn't really necessarily know how to manage it properly. And like I said, we both agreed to reinvest into future gear that will make us money. We rent a lot of stuff out now, so it's starting to pay off. But those couple missed checks just happened. Yeah, lack of budgeting skills. So we'd have say a $4,000 shoot, but that didn't pay for a month or two. So now like they kind of messed
you're
up what we
relevant.
thought we had.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what else to touch on that one, but
Yeah, there's like the world of business. It's not, especially in the service world and stuff that you guys do. It's not almost guaranteed all the time. Or would you
like the
say
work you mean?
Yeah, the work.
Yeah, like I said, summer I'd say is like a guarantee. People shooting
People need
content and
shoot,
stuff. But in the winter, I think things just slow down a little bit, right, for everybody.
And
So
how are you finding these clients? Like when you first started to now you have a portfolio built up.
Right.
What's the difference like when you're looking for these people, or are they coming to you? What's that business look like?
to be honest, we haven't spent $1 in marketing, which we should. And we're in the process of it right now. Trying to rank our name on Google Ads at the moment. So starting to put a little money into it. But at the beginning, like I said, we doubled our network and even tripled because of Giuseppe, and he ended up getting us one of the first big jobs for a cinema in Park.
Right.
That was through Giuseppe. So having a team of creators, naturally the work will flow in. And like you said, we do a lot of events like SOS. So people see us out, right? And that kind of helps as well because you see someone at SOS, or they see you at SOS, but they might need something working 2-3 months from now. And yeah, a lot through Instagram, to be honest. But yeah, we're gonna start doing things a little bit more official.
Yeah.
And marketing, ranking our website, and just putting out some ads because now we're so confident with our work and like proud of what we've done, and we don't actually post really anything. So we gotta step up our game there a little bit, and that's what we'll do in this slow season is really push for that. We're gonna actually on the 17th, I think it is. We start with BNI. They're like a networking
I've heard them.
thing, right? So it's basically one professional from each industry is part of your chapter.
I went to one.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So then like that, now they're your sales team because they
100%.
get points for selling to you and vice versa. And apparently this one plumber made $96K from BNI. I was like, okay, we're going to sign up. Because everyone needs video, right?
Yeah.
Photos. And
100%. Yeah, I went to one of their. I got invited as like a guest to one of their things, and it was very interesting to see how it's a community. It's basically what you're saying. You're tripling, quadrupling, in this case, 10xing your network, and it comes through referrals and then great system out there. So, I think business wise, we're not sponsored by them or anything, but like I had a blast. I went there for a lunch. I had a great lunch. I met a couple cool people, and was able to figure that out. So there's no complaints in that world as well.
And I think one reason we didn't kind of do the marketing is that we were very busy when we were busy, so we couldn't really take on more work. Even right now, we're still slowly building up the team, right? Even with Aiden and another guy, Jaden, and Max. I don't know if you guys know.
I met Jaden at Lakeside.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Max, he moved to Vancouver to go to film school, and he's graduated now, so he's kind of being our West Coast rep at the moment.
Nice.
Building up the team, and the reason I started with the name Club Create, because I didn't want it to be like Garrett McEwen Productions or anything. You know, I didn't want to be based around me. I wanted to be a place where creators could work, but also still have freedom. Like, I'm not like your boss. You don't like owe me anything, or you don't have to be here. Like if you commit to the job, show up. But like if you want to go travel and do your own thing and branch out, that's totally fine too. So yeah, and I understand how hard it is to be a freelance creator and not know when the next check is coming. So what we're trying to implement is we basically just have a tally of what club owes each individual, and then you can decide what you want to cash out. If you want to space out your payments over a few months, you can kind of control your vacation at that point as well, right? So
Smart.
we're just trying to do things a little differently, and like you said, be creative with it, right? And business doesn't have to be so serious all the time. Like you can do it with the homies and have fun with it. So that's what we're trying to create.
What is it like building that team and seeing your vision grow slowly and slowly, right?
To be honest, this point right now is where everything's kind of aligning. Obviously at the beginning I had the same vision, but like no one really wanted to hop on. Like obviously David and Giuseppe were, right? But then everyone else is still trying to do their own thing and like create their own name. And even with Max too, but it's really hard to do this shit on your own. It is really hard. The workload, like how are you gonna shoot and edit and manage your clients and do your finances and market? Like it's too much for one person, right? So now people are like, I was trying to like collect people at the beginning and build up this team, but now people are slowly, you know, resonating to club. And I just want to make sure that we keep it that works for us employees. Essentially, right? We don't need club to profit. I mean, obviously we're going to try to, so we can scale like bigger loans and future ventures. But the main thing is that everybody that's working gets paid, gets fed. So.
100%. And then I this is just a question in terms of like business model wise. Are you looking to like go wide or specialize in another thing?
Great question at this moment as well, because we've literally been taking on everything, even the sugaring content. And then I shoot Brady and Shy, which is social. And then we do weddings, and then we do corporate interviews, and then...
And you do everything so well
as well. We try to, but I feel there's some people who have chosen a lane and just crushed it.
They just do it.
Right? Like, I don't know if you guys know Phoebes. Shoots the...
That man's getting a check. That man's getting a check.
Dude,
well, not yet, but he will. He will get a check.
His content is phenomenal.
Crazy. So he just picked his lane, right, with sports and just curated his own style with the editing. And sometimes I'm jealous. I'm like, damn, like, just how is he growing so fast? But then I sit back and realize, like, okay, I'm just bought a tent company. I'm trying to learn that business. I got a son. I'm trying to be a good dad. Like, I'm really spread out at the moment. And yes, I do want to pick a niche and just really crush that. But since we've spaced ourselves out across the board for photo and video, because those are two different games, but we can do both, right? Also investing in twice as much gear too, with the strobes and everything. But recently, everything again with the alignment. Not only is everybody resonating to club, like for work, but the work that club is doing is also aligning. So, like I mentioned earlier, our weddings, we're not just doing the slow-mo B-roll highlight anymore. Like we can still offer that, and they're gonna be fire. But there isn't like that personal touch to it. Like sometimes we'll add in a little audio snippet, which does add something. But now with this reality TV, you're getting tears, you're getting laughter, we're literally pulling people aside and interviewing them and getting their feedback on the day. So for the bride and groom to watch that back, it's just perspectives that they didn't even realize.
Of course.
And the day up, right? So our weddings are becoming this reality TV documentary style thing. And now with Max involved, he's trying to get us all these grants for documentaries and short films. So we're kind of leaning that way as well. And I'm not gonna say all the ones in the next year here. One I will say that we're gonna be applying for is I want to do a documentary based around Scott from Saint.
Oh yeah.
Right? Guy just paved the way.
We've been waiting for that.
He'll be here next, right?
We've been waiting.
Yo, Scott, if you're watching this, bro,
you're next.
You're next.
So yeah, we're gonna be doing a documentary around him and the evolution of barber shops in Winnipeg, insane, right? And with that portfolio piece, it's just gonna snowball into the bigger projects. So I guess in terms of niche, we're gonna slowly stop doing the smaller, tiny projects. Thing is, though, I hate saying no to people and like not being able to help and solve them problems, even if it's a smaller one, right? But building out our team, now we can delegate. People can pick and choose if they want to take on those jobs as well, right? And obviously, I can't give up social because Shy, like we're locked in like this, right? And since he started to commit to the social game, I kind of have to as well.
Right.
And he's gonna be hopping on YouTube right away, and then I'm gonna be starting mine as soon as we rent out our garage in October here. So, I try to stay away from social, but I'm just committing to it. That is gonna be one lane that I personally stick in.
Yeah.
And then obviously our weddings, we will always do. And then from there, I think bigger doc projects. I think that we can get more people in, tell bigger stories, and potential for bigger profits.
What is it like working with these social influencers, or I wouldn't like these people, right? But
Yeah.
like these are not just regular names you're spitting out, right?
Yeah.
It's Scott Ramo, it's Lavish, it's Weiss and Fab, it's Shy Ross. These are like the heavy hitters of Winnipeg that have, really put Winnipeg on a map essentially in terms of what the culture is of Winnipeg. So
And
what's it like?
and the potential
as well. Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
at the beginning, not gonna lie, I might have taken it for granted a little bit because they hit you up, and like the first time I shot with Shy, he was on the Bisons, and in my mind I was like, ooh, he could be in the CFL, right? And which he did go and play.
Yeah.
And I thought that was like the biggest thing. But then you meet these people, and they're all just great individuals. Like Lavish would literally text me, or I'll drop him off after a shoot. He said, text me when you get home. And I'd be like, whatever. He's not gonna care. Yeah. I'd get home and he's like, fam, you home? And I'm like, yeah. Like, this guy really cares, right?
Yeah.
And then same thing with Shy too. He's just such a caring individual. So when you start shooting and working with these people, you kind of forget like the reputation or like the status, I guess.
Yeah.
And you just you respect them for who they are.
I think that's the biggest thing. It's like when we sit down with people, you always get hyped of the million followers, and like they have this social status, but you forget that there is an actual person behind all of that.
All just people, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I just drove here in a car, walked here, we're just people. So
it's like we put them on this high pedestal, and it's like they don't want to be known for that, right?
Yeah. So, and then Brady again, like obviously his work with the dogs, right? But he's just such a great individual as well. And I'm grateful that those clients came my way, and that we've been able to build relationships from it. Right?
What aspect of the business do you enjoy the most? Like, do you enjoy being behind the camera? Do you enjoy certain shoots over the others? Do you enjoy like the managerial side and the business side of like, okay, I don't need to go to a shoot if I don't have to?
Yeah, I'm not there yet.
No, okay.
No, I still got to be. And like me and David are just so confident in our shooting style and abilities that we haven't quite been able to hand that off yet.
Would you want to though?
Yeah,
you would
for sure.
Yeah,
and to oversee and just kind of manage. And ideally, in the next 2 years, we'll have Club Academy where we bring on like young shooters just right from the start, and then they work for us, and whether they stay with us or do their own thing. But yeah, right now, I mean, Aiden, he's a sniper. So like I've sent him actually to a couple of shoots that I couldn't make it confidently. And but you do have to have that trust in people you work with, right? Even with Giuseppe was easy because you get the video back and you're like, okay, I can't do that.
Yeah.
So, just finding trust in people, I think is important for sure.
Is it hard to compare yourself to the rest of the market? Because we're always scanning. You're always scanning to see, Prolex is doing this.
I scan Prolex all the time. Yeah.
Love the Prolex guys.
Yeah.
No,
Alex is great.
Like
Alex is crazy.
Alex is great. Everyone's in their own lane, but is it hard to sometimes, get into that negative thought of like, yo, Alex is doing this, why am I not doing that? Or
and I've had that even with Phoebes too, right?
Yeah.
It's like, you see him, he's just fucking, he is going to be shooting an NBA game.
Yeah,
I
saw his
maybe
little,
even this season, right?
Yeah.
And when it happens, I'm going to be like, I'm not shooting it. But at the same time, I'm so happy for him.
Yeah.
And I know the work and the dedication he put to get there.
Yeah, the difference between jealousy and envy. You're envious of him, but you don't want anything bad.
Yeah, I don't want to take away. No,
you don't want to take away.
So happy for him, and he's earned everything that he. Agreed. And same with Prolex, with Alex. Yeah. Me and David were actually shooting at Thermia. We were in the parking lot, like loading our gear, when we're talking about Alex, because we we shoot like quite frequently with the Prolux team.
Yeah.
But Alex is never there. So we're like, like I wonder what he's doing. And then all of a sudden, ting, and we look over and it's him. He's teeing off at the golf course. And I'm like, okay, he's golfing. And then I messaged him about it, and he said, yeah, you know, that's part of business. Is that networking on the golf course with potential clients. And I was like, wow, a new perspective just right there, right?
Right.
And I did get my first set of golf clubs this year, so maybe next year I'll have some time to, you know.
Golf tournament, boys.
Yeah, we did sponsor one actually, which is super fun.
Yeah.
And again, just being out in the community a little bit more and showing our work more, I think is what we need to do a little bit more in the next year. So, yeah, envying, I definitely scan other creators, even in other cities and around the world, and I have my favorites. And, you know, I hope to meet all of them one day. But there's some really good ones in Winnipeg that I'm super proud to be a part of, like the community here.
Yeah,
right?
and then we talked about this many times as well. Like behind the scenes here, like there's only a handful of people in Winnipeg doing it at a high level, and that if you want to get involved in it, there's many ways and opportunities that you can get, but a lot of it just comes down to network and who you know. And getting in those doors, like you said, you mentioned at the beginning, you got to do a lot of free shoots, or even less than free. Like you pay to be there.
Yeah, if I didn't, I had one free shoot. Oh man, this is kind of where it all started. If I think about it, for Somto, and Nelly, I did a gym shoot for them. They both played on Bisons.
Yeah.
Somto was also doing music with Lavish. They were they were like a duo.
Yeah.
So that's how I got Lavish. Then Scott, right, and then. I think even Brady threw that, but then Nelly, he's Fab's homie.
Yeah.
And then Fab, and then they all played with Shy. So it was like that one shoot that I did for free. Look at the opportunities that arose from it, right? I could have just been lazy and stayed home and said, I'm not making any money. Why would I do that, right?
Were there opportunities you said no to that you wish you had said yes to, or did you say yes to almost everything that came through your door?
I don't think there's been an opportunity that I've. Obviously, if it's like a double booking or something.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't shoot with Brady as much anymore, is because I was gone for 3 months. And I will be again next year. We have this new annual contract, which we can talk about in a bit. But, you just can't be in two places at once. And there's a Butter Knife Media. I don't know if you follow those guys at all. But they're coming up on a scene right now. Yeah. And they started shooting with them, which I'm, again, so happy for them because they're killing it. And, so I don't think I'd ever say no to an opportunity, but some things you do have to let pass, right?
Of course.
Talk to me about the mindset that it takes to be in this entrepreneurial world, you know, where not everything is the top of the moment. There's very lows and there's very highs. So,
I mean, I can't speak on behalf of everybody, but for me, the way I go about life is just really chill and calm. Obviously, there's moments that, like the break-in last week, that just kind of boil your blood a little bit.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I was like, what, I'm going to freak out in this parking lot and ruin my day? Right. Or we could just, you know, go about this the right way and just move forward. So for mindset, you definitely have to be patient. I got tattooed right here, patience. Because as an entrepreneur, you probably have some big goals that no one else has really dreamt of or achieved, or maybe they have it in their own way. So for you to get there, it's not going to be just a straight road. Patience for time, because again, it's not going to happen tomorrow, and patience in the sense that not everything's going to go the way you think it should go. But the people who thrive and strive are the ones that can be rerouted and just hop back on track, right? And I think being patient. Sometimes I'm a little too chill, but I'd rather be too chill than too serious. And you know what? It's like business is fun. It's a game. I'm in it for the long run. So I don't try to rush it anymore. I just enjoy every step of the way. You know?
There's this really good quote by Jay Shetty. He says, "Everything in life will happen, just not the way you imagine it will."
Exactly. Yeah. And that's happened to me a couple times, even like this year with Club. I was like, whoa, this is what I wanted it to be, and then it didn't happen, but like now it's just happening on its own.
Yeah.
Right? And I can't even imagine in 5 years like, where we're going to be. So.
Yeah. Can you talk to me about the logistics of a shoot, especially like a much bigger shoot? We do this, every Saturday, but we've kind of honed down the logistics on here as well. Everything kind of goes into one. But managing multiple people, managing the amount of storage, having backups on storage, having all of that. What does that look like?
So I'm just going to start with storage because that's kind of its own journey.
Well, let's put it into an example sense. Let's talk about Summer of Sound, right? Because that's where we saw your team.
Or another
maybe
event.
let's do Lakeside.
Yeah,
because Brett Anderson kind of has this. So
Yeah,
he would have ran that a little bit.
Yeah, let's talk about Lakeside.
Yeah.
Fuck, Lakeside, I wasn't actually there.
I know. Talk about when you were there. You're the Calgary event.
Calgary.
Your wedding.
Yeah, so let's do a wedding because that's probably
sure.
the most intense live event.
Okay.
Can't miss a moment.
Yeah,
right?
walk me through what a wedding looks like.
So if it's our reality TV deliverable, there's going to be 5 of us. There's going to be one guy, strictly audio. So he will go mic up everyone that needs to be mic'd up, make sure their batteries are good, whatnot, make sure time code is correct on our camera so that everything does sync at the end. And then he'll also be boom polling any interviews that we do. So that's like just him.
Yeah.
Then there's me and David, which kind of direct, but we're shooting, right? I got my gimbal. That's where I thrive. And then he's on tights with a 200 mil.
Yeah.
And his easy rigger, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then we have a third shooter. That's someone who's probably just going to be moving tripods, making sure those static frames are good.
Yeah.
And then sometimes we'll have a grip. So just batteries, just moving stands, setting shit up. Because like for a wedding, we'll still be shooting, but have to be set up in the ceremony. Yeah. So we got to be moving around and spaced out. And then the biggest jump in our game was getting the headsets. So we got a set of 8 that we can just hand out, and sometimes we'll give one to the photographer so you're not stepping each other's shots, and we'll just be like whispering to each other like, hey, go get this. And it's just like, it's a game changer. It makes it fun. Because like there's nothing worse than looking across the room at your partner or like someone shooting, and it's like, you don't have the moment or your battery died, but you can't tell them because they're going to yell across the ceremony. So headsets is the biggest thing. And then time code. With those two, we're a tight run ship right now. It's pretty sick. And then for deliverables, storage, that was a big struggle for the first 2 years because we got these Blackmagic cameras that shoot B-RAW and ProRes, and then we got our Animus Ninja so we could shoot ProRes with all of our other Sony bodies, but those are huge files. Yeah. So then we have like 8 terabytes that are all full, and you can't plug them in at the same time. We're like, hey, what do we do? So we bought a NAS, which is about 74 terabytes, but the way we run it, it's only 54, so that if one of those 8 terabytes fails, the others will just replace. I don't know. I don't understand how it works, but you don't need a double backup. You can't lose your footage unless someone just hammered that thing or dropped it on water, right? So that was cool. It worked. And then after 1 year, we filled it. And then we're like, hey, we need another one. It's another $4,000. And we're like, I don't want to do this every year. Like that's not something I want to spend money on every year. So we've actually kind of come back to just your regular SD cards. No more ProRes. I mean, if we shoot on the Pocket, we still have to. But for the most part, we're switching fully to Sony, just on your regular cards. The computers are so fast now that it doesn't have to be a non-compressed file. They can just read it perfectly fine. And we now make proxies on every project. We're on DaVinci Cloud, so we can like both be on a project with Giuseppe if need be. It's come a long way for sure. But
logistically, that seems like a nightmare. Like at least figuring that out.
Yeah.
Were there moments where you lost footage of events or things that didn't go as planned, or you missed like a special shot at like a wedding or something that stands out?
Not that I can recall. Nice. There's obviously been some like scared moments where it's like, wait, did you back up that card or did you delete it? You know what I mean? But not for the most part. We've been good with it. So.
Are you guys storyboarding before you go on and shoot something? For example, like a wedding. Do you know what it's going to look like beforehand, or
no?
You kind of just freestyling it.
Freestyle, and like Max, he's going to be bringing that producer edge, director edge to our work moving forward. But to be honest, like this whole summer, I don't think more than 2 weeks ahead. Because if I'm thinking about a shoot in 2 weeks, I'm not thinking about the one right now, and then there's another one tomorrow and the next day. So I gotta just be like 48 hours, I'll start like packing and figuring out what I need. But I can't get too far ahead. Ideally, like with Prolux and Alex, he sent me this brief for the shoot. I was like, wow, this would be so nice if I had time to just make this and just, hand it out.
Yeah.
And that's what we're going to ideally be going in the next year, is stepping back a little bit from shooting. I'm still going to be shooting weddings, so I can't not do that. But yeah, stepping back a little bit, managing a little bit more, and that post-production or pre-production is something that we slack on a lot. We thrive though, like in the moment. I don't like to go scout out my location. I like to just be there and just, be in the moment and crush it there. But there's definitely times where you want that. And certain projects, like if it's more commercial based, then we will have a mood board.
Yeah.
Not to the extent that we should, but in the near future, we will definitely be cracking down on pre-production a little more.
And now you guys are traveling too, going places, like add that aspect into.
I remember it was 2019, and I was like, I wish I could travel for work, and COVID happened, not so much traveling. 2022 we incorporated a lot of local work. 2022. Yeah, didn't really travel much for work. And then 2023 I went to LA with Shy. We did a Kelowna wedding. This is a couple things, right?
Yeah.
Did one weekend with Summit, this dance competition that now we have a 3-month contract with every year. So that was a little bit of travel. But then starting in this year, 3 months, boom, March, April, May, 14 cities across Canada, right?
God damn.
Barely home. And so now I'm a silver member on WestJet just from that. It's pretty sick. And then we finished Summit. We had like this job in New Brunswick the next week. Then I went to Dallas the next week to watch my sister play in the finals game. And I came back. I'm honestly lost with the trips right now. Which is great because that's what I wished for.
Yeah.
But now that I'm doing them, for one, you can't really. I mean, you can still do great work, but you can't bring all of your gear.
Right.
And if you do, it's always on your back. You're always carrying it. So it's a little bit harder. For travel gigs, you're in new cities, new rental car places, right? Like you're always just trying to figure out these problems, and then you're away from home, away from the family, right? So that's been tough.
Yeah. How are you balancing that aspect with?
I don't say I'm really balancing right now.
Yeah,
It's just been work, and luckily Brooks, he wakes up early, so I'll be waking up with him, and I got a little time in the mornings there. But now that we're coming into a slower season, definitely going to prioritize the family time.
Right.
And then going into next year, there's not much I can do for that Summit tour. But moving forward, either they'll come with me, like bringing Amy and Brooks, or we'll figure that out when it comes. But
do you like the stability of having that contract, or would you rather?
Oh wow! So I mean, it's not like there's no like agreement like we're doing it every year.
Yeah.
But we've built a great relationship, and I think that our morals align between club's morals and Summit.
Yeah.
Everyone there is just you feel like a family after the 3 months, and they're trying to bring like that core back this year again. So financially though, it is a blessing because you do have 3 months of solid work, and March, April, May isn't really a busy season. It's ramping up, but we have enough guys now that we can still do a couple shoots at home, or when we're like this year we had 2 days at home and we have a 2-day shoot for the Rady Center, and it was jam packed. But next year I think we'll be a little more equipped to balance better. But yeah, just to have an ongoing client, a relationship like we do with our like say Rady Center as well. We shoot with them every year. So I think focusing on those relationships with clients is something that we're really going to hone in on, because we don't need every client. We just need a couple that love us and we love them. So So yeah, blessings to have that as well. And with the Summit thing, like I said, now we can cash out if we want, or we can kind of stretch out that pay throughout summer, but kind of have that ability, I guess. So.
If you were to paint a picture of what your ideal life looks like in terms of the business world and your family, what would that picture look like?
Again, that's something that's been kind of changing since Brooks, and as the company evolves. Club Create is just the first company, and I didn't mean to do this, but being the first company, every other company that I decide to venture into after this will need content, right? So boom, I already got it because I got the production company. So this company will always exist, right? And help out the other ones. And like I said, if we have Club Academy and we have a flow of young shooters coming into the scene, and even if they don't stay, but some will, right? Because we're fun and we're pretty chill. Then there'll always be shooters available, not necessarily doing the biggest projects, but maybe some will. We'll grow into that. And there's been a couple other, like full-time filmmaker. I've been following them for a decade now. And Peter Walbrick, the guy that started it, sold his company to one of his students. And then they just runs the academy. So it's like, I'm not saying it's going to be exactly like that, but club will always exist. I'll always have it in my back pocket. I'm always going to want to shoot because it is a passion for me. But I will be a little more picky choosy in the future and be able to go on the bigger shoots or the ones that I would rather do. But like I said, managing, like we were talking about earlier, I would love to just show up to a shoot, make sure everything's all good. You can even view remotely now from phones to cameras. So that's probably how it'll look. I want a lot of family time, a lot of outdoors, a lot of travel, and then financial security. So however that looks, that's the goal right there.
Just talking with you for the last couple of minutes, or almost an hour here. I can respect how you're taking a step at a time and building off of each one. Like you mentioned, you're going, okay, this doesn't work. Okay, we're going to add this onto it, and the same thing with the future business that you have as well. You mentioned there was a business before club as well. What was that business, and what happened with that?
That was
Was that Strangers? Am I wrong?
What was that? What
was the business called?
Social.
Okay, Social. Yeah,
it's Z.
Smart.
But like I said, it was just too soon for everyone to come together because we're all trying to feed ourselves and struggling with work. So we thought if we came together, we could take on bigger projects, and we did get some bigger ones. But when you divide that by 4, you're actually making less than if you were to do it on your own. And we didn't have enough gear for ourselves, so like the company would have had to buy gear, but you need to pay us, and it just didn't work out. Like when me and David did it, we both had a very sufficient amount of gear on our own that kind of just came together, which really helped. And just our experience, we were all like first, second year freelancers, so even on the business end, we had no idea what we were doing. We didn't know what to charge. It was too soon. And not everybody was going down the same path. But when it just happened naturally with me and David, that we're like, hey, we're working side by side here. Like let's just incorporate, right? And like I said, it's all about timing. You said earlier, it's not. What did you say? He
says everything in life will happen, just not the way you imagine.
Exactly. Exactly. So, I love club. It's one of my babies right now for sure, and I'm excited to see where it goes.
What does the future hold for Club Creative?
Again, financially, it's never been one. The goal is never to make $1 million from our production company. That might end up happening if we get into the film scene in Winnipeg, which is popping off right now. So our idea, we do want to get a grip truck going and be able to rent out some stuff to the film industry. But like I said, if we can be providing work and experience and knowledge and a network to an abundance of shooters, whether that's who we're working with now or the future generation, I think that's just what it'll be, right? It'll just be a club where people create shit, you know what I mean? And I have other business ventures where that's where I'm going to make my real money. But like I said, club's always going to be necessary in all those ventures. So.
Do you have any advice for a shooter or someone who's looking to get into the scene, specifically maybe in Winnipeg? What should they do, and what are some steps that they can take to like really stand out or even just get in?
I feel like it's a full conversation, depending on like what their direction is, right? But I would say come into it lightly in the sense of whatever you start with, whether it's music videos, that's not what you're going to end in, right? I mean, maybe it is, but like don't just take it with a grain of salt, right?
Yeah.
Be open to all different styles of shooting, network. Like without Jill, I wouldn't have been in the scene, and I would have been, because everyone else that was doing club shoots and music videos, that's a hard transition.
Right.
Like, here's my music video, can I shoot your wedding? That's tough, right? But to have a mentor that was already in the scene, game changing. The people I would meet, vendors, other large photographers, right? So it was find yourself a mentor or come join club, because like you know what I mean? We're generous people. So for advice, don't try to do everything on your own.
Yeah.
Because you're just gonna hurt yourself and slow down your growth. So, and it is hard to find a teammate with the same vision. My first ever business partner was my best friend, and I'm not saying that it ended our relationship, but our relationship ended around the same time that we kind of parted ways. So we were great friends, but his ambition and drive didn't align with mine, so it didn't work out. And then all of a sudden Max hit me up. He was still in high school and he had the ambition, and like, did I want to go to this kid's shoot and give him my gear and like watch him struggle on his first shoot? No, but I saw his drive and his ambition, right? And that passion he had for film. So I was like, okay, well, if you want to help me on shoots, like, I'm down. And I kind of mentored him. But then his direction was different. He wanted to go to film school. So boom, all that time invested, and then he's gone.
Yeah.
We're still great friends, and we're going to be for life. And there's no regrets, because we had incredible times together. And like I said, now it's working out where we are working together again.
Yeah.
He hired me to come to Calgary, then we hired him by the end of the month to come back to Calgary, right? Yeah. So, but in that meantime, when he left, me and David, it just all aligned, right?
Yeah.
And he had the drive and the passion and the same direction.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, if the goal is the same, why don't we just get there together?
Yeah, and same with like this team you guys got here, right?
Yeah.
Can just be anybody. Like it's
100%.
It's tough to get that team together. So yeah, don't try to do it on your own, and just be patient.
Yeah. Cool.
Bro, if there's anything that we haven't touched on before we give you off, is there anything that you would like to touch on before we end off?
Anything you think the people should know, we should know about your story, about your life, about the world of club, about the world of creation?
I'm excited to talk about the future, but it's just too soon right now.
soon.
So maybe next year
we'll get you back.
Episode 2.
Episode 2. Yeah, no.
I also think we can talk to you for hours, to be honest.
Honestly,
I feel like you have so many stories. That, like,
I was worried that I was gonna be super nervous coming into this, but you guys made it just so relaxing. Thank you for this.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll be working together in the future here too, right?
I'm gonna see. I'll get the behind the scenes shots. And I'll send them your way.
Yeah,
I'll send them your way.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in and listening to this episode. If you haven't already, make sure to check out Garrett and Club Create. We'll tag. Yeah, their work is amazing. If you need a client, you know how to go to some of the best shooters in the city. And until next time, peace.
That's a wrap.
Woo! Hell yeah.
Yeah.